the impossible warning. The stars looked calm and peaceful around the small human colony of New Terra. But peace was about to end. A massive alien fleet dropped out of hyperspace. 1,000 warships appeared in the sky. Their dark metal bodies blocked the sunlight. The shadow fell across the planet like a cold blanket. On the bridge of the biggest alien warship, General Kravik smiled. His four eyes glowed with pride. His scales shined under the red lights. He had won 300 battles. He never lost a single fight. "Scan the planet," Kravik ordered. His voice was deep and rough like grinding stones. A young alien officer worked on the control panel. His claws clicked against the buttons. "General, I detect only one military base. Population is 5 million. They have 20 small defense ships." Kravik laughed. The sound filled the entire bridge. Other alien officers joined him. They thought this would be an easy victory. "Only 20 ships?" Kravik said. "We have 1,000. This will be over in minutes." He pressed a button. A communication channel opened. His face appeared on every screen across New Terra. Humans in the streets stopped walking. Farmers in the fields looked up. Children in schools watched in fear. "Humans of New Terra," Kravik's voice boomed. "I am General Kravik of the Zalnor Empire. I have 1 million soldiers. My fleet can turn your cities into dust. You have 1 hour to surrender, or you all die." The message ended. Silence covered the planet. People looked at each other with worried faces. Some started crying. Others hugged their families. But in the main military command center, things were different. Captain Sarah Chen sat in her chair. She was calm, too calm. She watched the alien message again. Then she smiled. It was a small smile, but her eyes showed something strange, something dangerous. "Ma'am, what should we do?" asked Lieutenant James Park. His hands were shaking. He was only 23 years old. Captain Chen stood up. She walked to the communication panel. Her boots made quiet sounds on the metal floor. She pressed several buttons. "Open a channel to the alien flagship," she said. Her voice was steady and cold. The bridge crew looked at her with surprise. Was she going to surrender? Kravik's face appeared on the screen. He was still smiling. "Ah, a human leader. Have you decided to surrender?" Captain Chen looked directly into his 4 eyes. She did not blink. She did not look afraid. "General Kravik," she said slowly. "You say you have 1 million troops. That's good." Kravik's smile grew bigger. "So you understand you cannot win?" Captain Chen's smile grew too. But it was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a hunter who sees trapped prey. "Oh, I understand perfectly," she said. "You have 1 million troops. That's excellent. Because I have 1 million targets." The smile disappeared from Kravik's face. His eyes narrowed. "What did you say?" "You heard me correctly," Captain Chen replied. 1 million targets. Thank you for making my job easier." Kravik stared at her. Was this human insane? He had a massive fleet. He had 1 million trained warriors. This tiny human colony had almost nothing. "You dare to threaten me?" Kravik shouted. His voice shook with anger. "You have 20 small ships. You have 1 military base. You are weak." Captain Chen tilted her head slightly. She looked almost amused. "Is that what your scans told you? Interesting. My scans are never wrong." Kravik roared. "Then you should scan again," Captain Chen said quietly. "This time scan more carefully." She reached toward her control panel. Her finger moved toward a single red button. The button looked simple, normal, but something about the way she looked at it made Kravik feel uncomfortable. "What are you doing?" he demanded. "I'm showing you what you missed," Captain Chen said. She pressed the button. For 3 seconds, nothing happened. Kravik laughed again. "Your tricks cannot—" Then the lights started appearing. All around New Terra, thousands of lights turned on. They came from the mountains, from the forests, from the oceans, from the cities, even from space stations hidden in the asteroid belt. Kravik's officer screamed. "General, new contacts, thousands of new weapon signatures. They were hidden from our scans." The general's face turned pale. His scales lost their shine. He watched as more and more lights appeared on his tactical display. Hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands. "That's impossible," he whispered. Captain Chen leaned forward. Her smile was gone now. Her face was serious. Her eyes were cold as ice. "Let me tell you something about humans, General," she said softly. "We don't have armies. We are the army. Every single one of us. The screen went black. Kravik stood frozen in his command chair. His million troops suddenly didn't seem like enough, not nearly enough. The hidden truth. General Kravik stared at his tactical screen. His 4 eyes could not believe what they were seeing. Red dots covered the display like stars in the night sky. Each dot was a weapon. Each dot was a threat. Rescan the planet. He shouted, "Now!" The young officer's claws moved quickly across the controls. Sweat dripped from his scaled forehead. "Scanning again, General. Results coming in." "Oh no. What? What is it?" Kravik demanded. "General, the numbers. They keep going up. Every building has weapons. Every vehicle has weapons. Even their farming machines have hidden guns." Kravik grabbed the officer's shoulder. "That's impossible. Our intelligence said this was a peaceful colony. Farmers and families, not soldiers." Another officer spoke up. Her voice was shaking. "General, I'm detecting something else. Every adult human on this planet has military implants, combat training chips, weapon skills stored in their brains." Kravik felt cold fear creep up his spine. "All of them, even the civilians." "General," the officer said quietly, "I don't think they have civilians." On New Terra, Captain Chen walked through the command center. Her officers were working at their stations, but she could see them smiling now. The fear was gone. "Lieutenant Park," she called out. "Open planet-wide communication." "Yes, ma'am." "Channel open." Captain Chen pressed a button on her wrist device. Her voice went to every human on New Terra, to every home, every street, every farm. "Citizens of New Terra," she said. "This is Captain Chen. You will know the drill. Code Phoenix is active. I repeat, Code Phoenix is active." Across the planet, something remarkable happened. In a small farm outside the main city, an old man named Thomas was feeding his chickens. He was 70 years old. His hair was white. His back was bent from years of work. When he heard the message, he stopped. He smiled. "Phoenix, eh?" he said to himself. "Been a while." He walked to his barn. Inside, he moved some hay from the floor. Underneath was a metal panel. He pressed his hand against it. The panel beeped and slid open. Inside was a combat suit and a plasma rifle. Both looked brand new. Thomas put on the suit. It fit perfectly. His bent back straightened. His old eyes became sharp and focused. He picked up the rifle like he had used it yesterday. In fact, he had used it 30 years ago in the border wars. "Still got it," he said with a grin. In the city, a school teacher named Maria was teaching math to her students. She was young, only 28. She wore glasses and a kind smile. When the message came, she calmly saved her lesson on the board. "Children," she said gently, "remember what we practiced. Go to the safe bunkers. Your parents will meet you there." The children nodded. They were calm too. They had practiced this many times. They left the classroom in neat lines. When they were gone, Maria removed a panel from her desk. Inside was a sniper rifle and tactical gear. She changed her clothes quickly. The kind teacher disappeared. In her place stood a sharp-eyed marksman who once held the record for longest confirmed kill. In a hospital, Dr. James was performing surgery. His hands were steady. His focus was perfect. When he heard the message, he finished the surgery first. He closed the patient carefully. He made sure everything was safe. Then he went to a locked room. Inside were 50 more doctors and nurses. They were all putting on combat armor. The hospital transformed. Medical beds moved aside. Weapons racks rose from the floor. The hospital became a fortress. Dr. James picked up his weapon. "Remember, team," he said, "we save lives. But today, we protect them first." Back on the alien flagship, Kravik was receiving reports. Each report made his blood run colder. "General, we're detecting massive energy spikes across the planet. Sir, their cargo ships in orbit are powering up weapons we didn't know they had." "General, the asteroid mining stations." "They're not mining stations. They're hidden military bases." Kravik slammed his fist on his chair. "How did we miss all this?" An older alien officer stepped forward. His name was Vex. He was Kravik's advisor. "General," Vex said carefully, "I think we were meant to miss it." "What do you mean?" "The humans wanted us to see a weak colony. They wanted us to feel confident, to come close, to land our troops." Vex pointed at the screen. "This isn't a colony, General. It's a trap." Kravik's pride hurt more than his fear. He had never been tricked before, never been made a fool. His scales turned dark red with anger. "Then we attack," he roared. "I don't care if every human has a weapon. We have ships. We have armor. We have superior technology." He opened the communication channel again. Captain Chen's face appeared. She was standing on a balcony now. Behind her, the sky was full of human ships. They had appeared from nowhere. Dozens of them, hundreds. "Still want to fight, General?" she asked. Kravik stood tall. He would not show fear. "You have clever tricks, human. You hid your weapons well. But we still outnumber you. We have 1,000 warships. We have superior shields and weapons." Captain Chen nodded slowly. "You're right. Your ships are better than ours. One alien warship can beat 3 human ships." Kravik smiled. Finally, the human admitted the truth. "But General," Captain Chen continued. Her voice became harder, colder. "You're thinking about ships. You're thinking about weapons and shields. What else is there?" Kravik asked. Captain Chen looked directly at him. "You're forgetting about the people inside those ships. And that's your biggest mistake." She gestured behind her. On the planet below, millions of lights were glowing. Every human was ready. Every human was armed. Every human was waiting. "My cargo ships you see in orbit," Captain Chen said. "Each one carries 500 combat-ready humans. My mining stations in the asteroids. Each one has 1,000 soldiers. My peaceful farms on the surface. Every farmer is a trained warrior." Kravik's confidence began to crack. That's still not enough to... "You have 1 million troops, General," Captain Chen interrupted. "I have 5 million, and every single one of them chose to live on a frontier colony. Do you know what kind of people choose that life?" Kravik said nothing. "The tough ones," Captain Chen answered. "The survivors. The fighters. The ones who won't quit." She pressed another button. The cargo ships began to transform. Panels opened. Massive cannons emerged. What looked like peaceful civilian vessels became weapons of war. "So here's my offer, General," Captain Chen said. "Turn your fleet around, leave. Tell the galaxy that humans are not easy prey. Or stay and fight. But if you stay..." She paused. Her eyes showed no mercy. "If you stay, I promise you this. Your 1 million troops won't be enough." Not even close. The transmission ended. General Kravik sat in his command chair. His officers watched him. They waited for orders. The proud general, who had won 300 battles, now faced a terrible choice: attack an enemy that was far stronger than he thought, or retreat and look weak in front of his entire empire. His pride made the choice for him. "Prepare to attack," he said quietly. "Launch all fighters. Deploy ground troops. We will crush them." But deep inside, Kravik felt something he had never felt before in battle. Doubt. The true battle begins. The space around New Terra exploded with light and fire. General Kravik's fleet moved forward like a dark wave. 1,000 warships activated their weapons. Red beams of energy shot toward the human vessels. Missiles flew through space like angry hornets. "All ships, open fire," Kravik commanded. His voice was strong, but his hands gripped his chair tightly. The alien weapons hit the human cargo ships. Explosions bloomed in space. Kravik smiled. "See? Their ships are weak. We will win this easily." But then something strange happened. The smoke cleared. The human ships were still there. Their shields had held. And now they were changing. Lieutenant Park watched his display screen in the command center. "Captain, enemy missiles incoming. Impact in 20 seconds. Captain Chen stood calm. "Activate defense grid. Show them what New Terra really is." Across the planet, hundreds of hidden turrets rose from the ground. They had been buried under farms, parks, and buildings. Now they pointed at the sky. Blue energy gathered in their barrels. The alien missiles came down like falling stars. There were thousands of them, enough to destroy entire cities, but the turrets fired. Blue beams shot upward. Each beam hit a missile perfectly. The sky lit up with explosions. Not one missile reached the ground. On the alien flagship, the young officer stared at his screen. "General, they shot down everything. Every single missile." Kravik's face turned pale. "Impossible. No one has that kind of accuracy." "Sir, scanning their defense system now. It's controlled by artificial intelligence. Military-grade AI. Each turret has its own smart computer." Kravik slammed his fist down. "Fire again. More missiles. Overwhelm their defenses." Another wave of missiles launched. 5,000 this time. They filled the sky like a metal rain. The defense turrets fired again. Blue beams cut through space. Missiles exploded one after another. The AI calculated every shot perfectly. Every trajectory. Every angle. But this time a few missiles got through. They hit a small town on the eastern continent. Buildings exploded. Fire spread through the streets. Captain Chen's face became hard as stone. They hit Riverside Town. Casualties? Checking now, ma'am, Lieutenant Park said. His fingers moved quickly. Population was 3,000. All civilians evacuated to bunkers before the attack. 0 deaths reported. Chen nodded. Good. Now they've attacked our home. Now we stop playing defense. She pressed a button. All cargo vessels execute transformation sequence. Show them what you really are. In orbit, the human cargo ships began to change. It was beautiful and terrifying to watch. Panels slid open along their hulls. Hidden compartments unlocked. What looked like simple storage containers were actually weapon pods. Dozens of them, hundreds. The ships grew larger. Wings extended. Extra engines powered up. Gun turrets emerged from every surface. In 30 seconds, peaceful cargo vessels became deadly warships. Sir, the alien officer screamed. The human ships. They're military vessels. They were disguised. Kravik watched in horror. 20 human ships had become 20 warships. And they were powerful. Each one had weapons that matched his best cruisers. How did we not see this? Kravik whispered. Captain Chen's voice came over the communication channel. You saw what we wanted you to see, General. Humans learned long ago, the best weapon is surprise. The human warships opened fire. Blue plasma beams cut through space. They hit alien shields with tremendous force. 3 alien ships exploded immediately. 5 more lost their shields. The human ships moved fast, dodging return fire with incredible skill. Evasive maneuvers. Kravik shouted. All ships, scatter formation. But the human ships were faster. They moved like dancers in space, spinning, dodging, firing with perfect accuracy. Inside one human warship called the Phoenix, Commander Marcus Lee smiled. He was 50 years old. He had fought in 7 wars. His hands moved across the controls like a pianist playing music. Target the flagship's left engine, he said to his crew. 2-second burst. Make it count. Yes, sir, his gunner replied. Blue plasma shot out. It hit exactly where Marcus wanted. The alien flagship shook. Sparks flew from damaged systems. On another human ship called the Ranger, young pilot Amy Torres flew between 2 alien cruisers. She was only 25, but she flew like she was born in space. Come on, catch me, she laughed. She spun her ship in a tight circle. The 2 alien cruisers fired at her. She dodged. Their beams hit each other instead. Both ships lost their shields. Gotcha, Amy said. She fired her missiles. Both alien cruisers exploded. Back on New Terra, the space battle was not the only fight. General Kravik made a desperate decision. Send ground troops to the planet's surface. Take the cities. Use the humans as hostages. Sir, is that wise? We don't know what we'll face down there. Just do it. Kravik roared. 500 alien dropships left the fleet. They carried 50,000 alien soldiers. The best troops in the Zalnar Empire. They wore heavy armor. They carried powerful weapons. Each soldier had trained for 10 years. They landed in a small town called Meadowbrook. It was a farming community. Population 500. It looked quiet. Peaceful. Easy. The alien troops marched through the streets. Their boots made heavy sounds on the ground. Their weapons were ready, but the streets were empty. Where were the humans? Search every building, ordered Commander Thax. He led the ground troops. Find the humans. Take them prisoner. The soldiers kicked down doors. They searched homes. They found food on tables, clothes in closets, but no people. Sir, the town is empty, a soldier reported. Thax narrowed his eyes. Empty? Where did they go? Then he heard something, a sound that made his blood run cold. Laughter, children's laughter. He turned around. Standing at the end of the street was a small human child, a girl, maybe 10 years old. She had brown hair and 2 ponytails. She wore a simple dress. She looked innocent, but in her hands she held a rifle, a real military rifle, and she held it like she knew exactly how to use it. Hello, the girl said with a smile. My name is Emma. My grandfather taught me to shoot when I was 5 years old. Thax raised his weapon. Little human, put down that gun. We don't want to hurt you. Emma's smile didn't change. That's funny. I was about to say the same thing. She raised her rifle, fast, faster than Thax expected. She fired. The shot hit Thax's weapon, knocking it from his hands. The shot was perfect, precise. She didn't hurt him. She just disarmed him. That was your warning shot, Emma said. The next one won't miss. Suddenly more humans appeared. They came from rooftops, from windows, from behind corners, men and women of all ages, teenagers, elderly people. Even a few more children. Every single one had a weapon. Old Thomas, the farmer, stepped forward with his plasma rifle. "You picked the wrong town, aliens." Maria, the teacher, aimed her sniper rifle from a rooftop. "We don't want to kill you, but we will protect our home." Dr. James appeared with his hospital team. "All armed, all ready. Last chance. Surrender or fight. Your choice." Commander Thax looked around. His 50,000 soldiers were surrounded by 500 humans. But these weren't normal civilians. These were warriors who looked like civilians. "This is insane," Thax whispered. "You're farmers, teachers, doctors." Emma smiled again. "We're humans, sir. We're whatever we need to be." In space, the battle was turning bad for the aliens. 20 human warships had destroyed over 100 alien vessels. The surprise was complete. The advantage was gone. General Kravik received a message from Commander Thax on the ground. "Sir, we need to retreat. The entire planet is a military force. We can't win this." Kravik's pride was broken now. His confidence was shattered. He had walked into a trap. "A perfect trap. All ships," he said quietly. "Prepare to retreat. We're leaving." But Captain Chen's face appeared on his screen again. Her expression was cold. "Final. Retreat, General," she said. "No, you came to our home. You threatened our families. You fired on our cities. Now you stay." "What do you mean?" Kravik asked. Chen pressed a button. "Launch the cage." From New Terra's surface, dozens of devices shot into space. They were small, round. They looked harmless. But when they reached the alien fleet, they activated. Each device created a field of energy. The fields connected to each other. In seconds, they formed a massive web around the entire alien fleet. "Sir," the alien officer screamed, "we're trapped. Some kind of energy net. Our engines won't work."
"Hyperspace is blocked."
Kravik stood from his chair. "What are those things?" Captain Chen's voice was calm, cold. "We call them gravity anchors. They create a field that holds ships in place. You can't move. You can't jump to hyperspace. You can't escape. This is against the laws of war." Kravik shouted. "You attacked a peaceful colony," Chen replied. "You threatened 5 million civilians. You fired on our homes. You don't get to talk about laws." Kravik looked at his screen. His mighty fleet was frozen in space. On the planet below, his ground troops were surrounded. He had lost. Completely lost. "What do you want?" he asked quietly. His voice had no pride left. No strength. Only defeat. Captain Chen leaned forward. "I want you to surrender. All of you. Every ship. Every soldier. Surrender now and you'll be treated fairly. Fight more, and we'll destroy every ship you have." General Kravik looked around his bridge. His officers watched him. They waited. The general who had won 300 battles now faced his first defeat, and it wasn't even close. Kravik started to speak. Then he stopped. His pride wanted to fight, but his mind knew the truth. He had already lost. The hunters become prey. General Kravik stood silent on his bridge. His 4 eyes stared at the energy web holding his fleet. 1,000 warships, 1 million soldiers, all trapped like insects in a spider's web. His pride screamed at him to fight. But his brain told him the truth. He had lost. "General," his advisor Vex said softly, "we must decide now." Kravik's claws dug into his chair. He had never surrendered before. Never. But he had also never faced an enemy like this. On the planet below, Commander Thax and his troops stood surrounded in Meadowbrook. The small girl Emma still pointed her rifle at them. Old Farmer Thomas smiled calmly. Teacher Maria watched from her rooftop position. Dr. James and his team blocked every exit. Thax's communicator beeped. "Commander, this is General Kravik. Stand down. Do not fight." "Sir?" Thax couldn't believe what he heard. "Are we surrendering?" There was a long pause. Then Kravik's voice came back, heavy with defeat. "Yes, we are surrendering." Thax lowered his weapon slowly. His soldiers did the same. 50,000 alien warriors put down their guns. The humans didn't move. They kept their weapons ready, watching, waiting. Emma lowered her rifle slightly. "Smart choice," she said. "My mom is making cookies. You want some?" Thax stared at her. This human child had helped defeat his entire unit, and now she was offering cookies. "Your world is very strange," he said. Emma giggled. "You have no idea." In orbit, Captain Chen watched her screens. The alien fleet was completely locked down. Gravity anchors held every ship in place. Human warships surrounded them. The battle was over. But Chen knew something the aliens didn't know yet. This wasn't just about winning a battle. This was about sending a message to the entire galaxy. "Lieutenant Park," she said, "open a channel. Galaxy-wide broadcast. I want everyone to see this, ma'am." "Everyone?" "Everyone," Chen confirmed. "Every species, every government, every military base in known space. They all need to understand what happened here today." Park's fingers worked quickly. "Channel open, Captain. We're broadcasting to every system in range." Chen stood straight. She adjusted her uniform. Behind her, the trapped alien fleet filled the view screen. She began to speak. "My name is Captain Sarah Chen of the human colony New Terra. Today, the Zalnor Empire attacked our home. General Kravik brought 1,000 warships and 1 million soldiers. He thought we were weak. He thought we were easy prey." Across the galaxy, millions of beings watched. In the Andorian Senate, politicians stopped their debates. On the Kree homeworld, military leaders leaned toward their screens. In the Vortan Empire, the High Council watched with great interest. Chen continued. "General Kravik made a mistake. He saw farmers and thought they were weak. He saw teachers and thought they were helpless. He saw doctors and thought they couldn't fight." She gestured to the screen behind her, showing Meadowbrook. The camera showed alien troops surrounded by humans of all ages, all armed, all capable. But here is the truth about humans. We are not just one thing. A farmer knows how to grow food and how to fight. A teacher can educate children and shoot a rifle. A doctor can heal wounds and defend their home. On the Zalnor homeworld, the Emperor watched the broadcast. His face showed shock and anger. His mighty general had been defeated, humiliated by a small human colony. Chen's voice grew harder. "General Kravik asked me how many troops I had. I told him I had targets. 5 million targets. Because every human on this colony is trained. Every human is ready. Every human will fight to protect their home." She pressed a button. The view changed. It showed recordings from the battle. Human cargo ships transforming into warships. Defense turrets rising from peaceful farms. Hidden bases activating in asteroid fields. Cities that looked normal revealing weapons everywhere. "This is what humans do," Chen said. "We prepare, we plan. We hide our strength until we need it. We look peaceful because we choose peace. But we are ready for war." In the Galactic Trade Federation headquarters, Ambassador Yelna of the Sarkan people watched with wide eyes. "Incredible," she whispered. "They turned their entire colony into a weapon." Her assistant nodded. "And the Zalnor never saw it coming." Back on New Terra, Chen continued her broadcast. "I want to make something clear to every species watching this. Humans don't want war. We want to live in peace. We want to trade, to learn, to grow." She paused. Her eyes became cold as ice. "But if you attack us, if you threaten our families, if you think we are weak because we smile and farm and teach and heal," she pointed at the trapped alien fleet, "then you will learn the same lesson General Kravik learned today." She walked closer to the camera. "Every human colony in space is like New Terra. Every human world is prepared. We are not warriors who pretend to be civilians. We are civilians who can become warriors in seconds." On Kravik's flagship, the general watched the broadcast with growing horror. She was telling the entire galaxy how badly he had failed, how completely he had been fooled. Chen's broadcast continued. "Some of you might think this makes humans dangerous. You're right, we are dangerous, but only to those who attack us first." She smiled slightly. "We prefer to trade. We prefer to talk. We prefer to solve problems with words and cooperation. But we are ready for the alternative." The view changed again. It showed the gravity anchors holding the fleet. It showed human warships in perfect formation. It showed millions of armed humans on the planet below. "General Kravik's fleet is now our prisoner," Chen said. "His troops have surrendered. We will treat them fairly. We will feed them. We will respect them. Because that's what civilized people do." She leaned forward. "But we won't forget. And we won't let them leave until the Zalnor Empire agrees to peace. Real peace, not the kind that breaks when you think you found weak prey." On the Zalnor homeworld, the Emperor stood up angrily. "This is humiliation. She dares to make demands." His advisor, an old Zalnor named Merk, spoke carefully. "Your Majesty, she has 1,000 of our ships. 1 million of our soldiers. Perhaps we should listen." "Never," the Emperor roared. Merk touched a control panel. "Then watch this, Your Majesty." A tactical display appeared. It showed New Terra, but it also showed something else. 50 other human colonies, all of them showing the same readings. Hidden weapons, military training. Defense networks, Your Majesty, Merc said quietly. New Terra is not unique. All human colonies are like this. If we go to war with humanity, we will face this kind of trap everywhere. The Emperor sat down slowly. His anger became fear. Back on New Terra, Chen finished her broadcast. This message goes to all species in the galaxy. Humans are your friends. We want peace. We want cooperation. But never mistake our kindness for weakness. She pressed a button. The view behind her showed Earth in the distance. Beautiful, blue, peaceful. We come from a world where we fought each other for thousands of years. We learned every way to make war, every tactic, every strategy, every trick. She looked directly at the camera, and then we decided to work together instead. We chose peace among ourselves. We took all that knowledge of war and buried it deep. Her voice dropped lower, dangerous, but it's still there, always there, ready when we need it. The broadcast showed one final image. A human family, parents and 2 children. They were having a picnic, smiling, laughing, happy. Then the view pulled back. The family was sitting on a field, but buried under that field was a military bunker, weapons storage, defense systems, all hidden under the peaceful grass. This is humanity, Chen said. Peace on the surface, war buried below. We pray we never need to dig it up, but if you force us to... The screen went black except for her face. Well, just ask General Kravik how that worked out. The broadcast ended. Across the galaxy, the message was received, loud and clear. In the Andorian Senate, they immediately voted to increase trade with human colonies. Better to be friends than enemies. On the Kree homeworld, military plans to expand toward human space were cancelled. The generals decided to expand in a different direction. In the Vortan Empire, the High Council sent a message to all human colonies. The Vortan people wish friendship and peace with humanity. And on dozens of other worlds, the same decision was made. Humans were not prey. Humans were not weak. Humans were not to be attacked. On the Zalnor homeworld, Emperor Tor sat in his throne room. He was angry, embarrassed. His pride hurt terribly, but he was not stupid. Send a message to this Captain Chen, he said quietly. Tell her the Zalnor Empire wishes to negotiate peace. Your Majesty, Merc said carefully. That will make us look weak. Emperor Tor looked at the tactical display, at his trapped fleet, at his surrounded soldiers. Merc, we already look weak. At least this way, we get our people back alive. On New Terra, Captain Chen received the message. She read it carefully. Then she smiled. Lieutenant Park, prepare to receive a delegation from the Zalnor Empire. Set up a meeting room. Make it nice, professional. Yes, ma'am. Are we winning, Captain? Chen looked out at the stars, at the trapped alien fleet, at her planet full of strong, capable humans. Yes, Lieutenant. We're winning. But more importantly, we're teaching. Teaching what, ma'am? Chen's smile grew. Teaching the galaxy that humans are not to be trifled with. We're kind until you're cruel. We're peaceful until you're violent. We're weak until you attack us. She turned to look at Park. And then, we're the most dangerous thing you've ever faced. On Kravik's flagship, the general sat alone in his quarters. His pride was destroyed. His reputation was ruined. He had lost everything, but he was alive. His soldiers were alive. And slowly he began to understand something. These humans could have killed them all. They had the power. They had the weapons. They had the advantage, but they chose mercy instead. Kravik remembered Chen's words. We will treat them fairly, because that's what civilized people do. For the first time in his military career, General Kravik felt respect for his enemy. Maybe, he thought, there was something to learn from these strange, dangerous, merciful humans. Maybe the galaxy learns. 3 days passed since the battle ended. The alien fleet remained frozen in space, held by the gravity anchors. But things were changing. Captain Chen walked through the prisoner camp on New Terra's surface. It wasn't like a normal prison. The alien soldiers had tents, food, and medical care. Human doctors treated their wounded. Human cooks made food they could eat. Commander Thax watched her approach. He stood straight, even though he was a prisoner. Captain Chen, he said respectfully. Commander, Chen nodded. How are your troops? Thax looked confused. Why do you care? We attacked you. We tried to conquer your world, Chen smiled slightly. You were following orders. Your general made a bad choice. That doesn't mean you deserve to suffer. She gestured around the camp. We give you food, water, shelter, medical care. That's who we are. We fight hard, but we don't torture prisoners. Thax was quiet for a moment. In the Zalnor Empire, prisoners are treated badly, kept in cages, given little food. I expected the same from you. Then you expected wrong, Chen said. Humans believe in something called dignity. Every being deserves basic respect, even enemies. A young alien soldier approached nervously. He was barely an adult. His scales were still bright with youth. Excuse me, Captain. My name is Krev. I wanted to say thank you. For what? Chen asked. Your doctors saved my life. I was wounded in the battle. They could have let me die, but they treated me like I was one of their own. Krev's eyes showed gratitude. Why? Chen put her hand on his shoulder gently. Because a doctor's job is to heal, not to judge. Our doctor doesn't care if you're human or alien. If you're hurt, he helps. Krev looked down. I joined the military because I was told humans were weak, inferior. That conquering you would be easy and honorable. He looked up at Chen. I was lied to. Yes, Chen said simply. You were. Thax stepped forward. Captain, when will General Kravik meet with your leaders? We've been waiting 3 days. The Zalnor Emperor arrives tomorrow, Chen replied. He's coming himself. To negotiate peace in person. Thax's eyes went wide. The Emperor, here. Apparently, we made quite an impression. Chen smiled. In space, on the alien flagship, General Kravik stood before a communication screen. Emperor Tor's face filled the display. The Emperor looked old and tired. General Kravik, the Emperor said coldly. You have disgraced the Empire. Kravik bowed his head. Yes, Your Majesty. I failed completely. You attacked based on bad intelligence. You walked into an obvious trap. You lost 1,000 ships without destroying a single enemy vessel. The Emperor's voice was hard as stone. I should have you executed. I understand, Your Majesty. The Emperor was quiet for a long moment. Then he sighed. But you also kept most of your soldiers alive. You surrendered before they were all killed. That took wisdom and humility. Kravik looked up, surprised. I watched Captain Chen's broadcast, the Emperor continued. The entire galaxy watched it. Do you know what I learned? No, Your Majesty. I learned that humans are not like us. We Zalnor believe strength comes from domination, from conquest, from making others fear us. The Emperor shook his head. But humans, they believe strength comes from preparation, from community, from making every citizen capable of defense. They are unlike any species I've ever fought, Kravik admitted. Exactly, the Emperor said, which is why I'm coming to their world, to meet these humans, to make real peace. He leaned forward. And Kravik, you will stand beside me. You will help negotiate this peace. Me. But I failed. You failed to conquer them, the Emperor interrupted. But you learned from them. You respected them. That's why you will help me make sure we never fight humans again. The next day, Emperor Tor's personal ship arrived at New Terra. It was beautiful. Golden and silver, decorated with the symbols of the Zalnor Empire. Captain Chen waited at the landing platform. Behind her stood representatives from the colony. Old Farmer Thomas was there in his best clothes. Teacher Maria wore a nice dress. Dr. James stood in his formal uniform. Even young Emma was there, holding her mother's hand. The ship landed softly. The door opened. Emperor Tor stepped out. He was tall. His scales were dark blue with age. His 4 eyes showed intelligence and weariness. Behind him came General Kravik, looking humble and defeated. Chen saluted formally. Emperor Tor, welcome to New Terra. The Emperor looked around. At the clean city, at the peaceful farms in the distance, at the humans watching with curious but not hostile faces. It's beautiful, he said quietly. I didn't expect that. What did you expect? Chen asked. A military base, weapons everywhere, soldiers marching in streets. The Emperor smiled sadly. But I see families, children playing, people living normal lives. That's because we are normal people, Chen said. We just happen to be very good at defending ourselves. She gestured toward a building. Shall we talk inside? We have much to discuss. The negotiation room was simple but comfortable. A large table, soft chairs, windows showing the peaceful landscape. Human and Zalnor representatives sat across from each other. Emperor Tor spoke first. "Captain Chen, I come to apologize. My empire attacked you based on lies. We thought you were weak. We were wrong." "Apology accepted," Chen said. "Now let's talk about the future. What do you want?" the emperor asked. "Reparations? Territory? Tribute?" Chen shook her head. "We want peace. Real peace. A treaty that both sides will honor." "That's all?" The emperor looked surprised. "You have our fleet. You could demand anything." "We could," Chen agreed. "But that's not who we are. We don't want to conquer you. We don't want revenge. We want to make sure this never happens again." General Kravik spoke for the first time. "Captain, may I ask a question?" "Of course, General." "Why didn't you destroy us? You had the power. You had the advantage. You could have wiped out my entire fleet in the first hour." Kravik looked genuinely curious. "Why show mercy?" Chen leaned back in her chair. "General, let me tell you a story. On Earth, humans fought each other for thousands of years. Wars everywhere. Millions died. We developed terrible weapons. We learned to hate very efficiently." She paused, looking at the aliens. "But then something changed. We realized that winning wars didn't solve problems. It just created new problems. Dead enemies become martyrs. Conquered people become rebels. Fear breeds more fear. So what did you do?" Emperor Tor asked. "We learned a better way," Chen said. "We learned that the best way to end conflict is to turn enemies into partners. To show strength but also show mercy. To win the battle but not crush the spirit." Old Thomas spoke up. "I fought in the border wars 30 years ago. We defeated the Centauri coalition. But instead of destroying them, we helped them rebuild. We traded with them. We became friends. And now," Maria added, "the Centauri are our strongest allies. They help protect human colonies. They trade with us freely. They trust us." Emma raised her small hand. "My teacher says that making friends is better than making enemies. Even if you win the fight." The aliens were quiet. This philosophy was strange to them. Foreign Emperor Tor finally spoke. "In Zalnor culture, we believe mercy is weakness. Showing kindness to enemies encourages more attacks." "Has that belief made you safer?" Chen asked gently. "Or has it made you more enemies?" The emperor thought about this. The Zalnor Empire had enemies everywhere. Dozens of species feared them, hated them, plotted against them. "We have many enemies," he admitted quietly. "Because you rule through fear," Chen said. "Fear works for a while, but eventually someone becomes brave enough to challenge you. Then you fight again and again. It never ends. What's your alternative?" General Kravik asked. Chen smiled. "Rule through respect. Treat others fairly. Be strong enough that no one wants to attack you, but kind enough that no one wants to." She stood and walked to the window. "Look at New Terra. We're strong. Very strong. You learned that the hard way. But we're also kind. We help our neighbors. We trade fairly. We treat prisoners well." She turned back to the aliens. "That's why we have allies across the galaxy. Species that fight beside us. Not because they fear us, but because they trust us." Dr. James added, "When we treat wounded enemy soldiers with the same care as our own people, those soldiers remember. They go home and tell stories. The humans could have killed me, but they saved my life instead." "Those stories matter," Maria said. "They change hearts. They change minds." Emperor Tor sat in silence. His old eyes showed deep thought. Finally he spoke. "If we agree to peace, what terms do you propose?" Chen pulled out a document. "It's simple. First, both sides agree to never attack each other again. Any disputes will be solved through negotiation, not war." "Agreed," the Emperor said. "Second, we establish trade between our peoples. Cultural exchange. Let humans and Zalnor learn about each other." "Agreed." "Third, we create a joint military academy. Human and Zalnor soldiers train together, learn from each other, build respect." The Emperor hesitated. "You want to teach my soldiers your tactics?" "And we want to learn yours," Chen said. "Emperor, if our soldiers train together, they become brothers in arms. Brothers don't fight each other." General Kravik leaned forward. "Your Majesty, I think this is wise. I've seen how humans fight, how they think. We could learn much from them." "And we could learn from you," Chen added. "Zalnor soldiers are brave and disciplined. That's admirable. We just want to add mercy and strategy to that bravery." The Emperor looked at his general, then at Captain Chen, then at the other humans in the room. A farmer, a teacher, a doctor, a child. All of them warriors when needed, all of them peaceful when possible. "Very well," he said finally. "I agree to all terms." Chen extended her hand. "Then we have peace." The Emperor looked at her hand. In Zalnor culture they didn't shake hands, but he understood the gesture. He reached out and grasped her hand firmly. "Peace," he said. The news spread across the galaxy like wildfire. The Zalnor Empire, one of the most powerful military forces in known space, had made peace with a small human colony. Not just peace, friendship. In the Galactic Senate, Ambassador Yelna of the Sarkin people stood to speak. "This changes everything. Humanity has shown us a new way. Strength combined with mercy, power combined with kindness," other ambassadors agreed. Species that had been planning to expand into human territory cancelled their plans. Not because they feared human weapons, but because they respected human philosophy. On the Kree homeworld, the military council met. "We should ally with the humans," the chief general said. "They fight smart, they prepare well, and they turn enemies into friends." Agreed, the council voted. In the Vortan Empire, similar discussions happened. Humans are the future, the High Council decided. Let us learn from them. 3 months later, the first joint military academy opened on New Terra. 50 human soldiers and 50 Zalnor soldiers arrived for training. General Kravik was there to oversee the Zalnor troops. Captain Chen managed the human side. On the first day, both groups stood apart, eyeing each other with suspicion. The humans remembered the attack. The Zalnor remembered their defeat. Chen spoke to everyone. "I know there is tension. I know there is distrust. That's natural. But we're not here to remember the past. We're here to build the future." General Kravik stepped forward. "Captain Chen defeated me in battle. She defeated me completely. I was humiliated." The Zalnor soldiers looked uncomfortable. Their general was admitting weakness. "But then," Kravik continued, "she taught me something more important than tactics. She taught me that true strength includes mercy. That real victory means making allies, not corpses." He looked at Chen with respect. "I came to New Terra as an enemy. I leave as a student, and possibly as a friend," Chen smiled. "General, the galaxy is big. There are real threats out there. Species that want to destroy, not build. Conquer, not cooperate." She gestured to all the soldiers. "If we work together, human and Zalnor, we can protect each other. We can defend the innocent. We can make the galaxy safer." Kravik nodded. "Together, we are stronger." The training began. It was hard. Humans and Zalnor had different fighting styles, different tactics, different philosophies, but slowly they learned from each other. Humans taught Zalnor soldiers about guerrilla tactics, about preparation, about turning any location into a fortress. Zalnor taught humans about honor in combat, about discipline, about loyalty to your unit. By the end of the first month, something amazing happened. The soldiers became friends. They ate together, trained together, laughed together. Young Krev, the Zalnor soldier Chen had met in the prison camp, became close friends with a human soldier named David. They were the same age. Both loved strategy games. Both wanted to make the galaxy better. "David," Krev said one day, "can I ask you something?" "Sure," David replied. "Why are humans so different? Every other species I know, they're just one thing. Warriors or farmers or traders. But humans are everything." David thought about it. "I think it's because we had to be. On Earth, we lived in every kind of environment. Deserts, jungles, icelands, mountains. We had to adapt to survive." "So you learned to be flexible?" "Exactly. Human can be a farmer today and a soldier tomorrow. A teacher in peacetime and a fighter in war. We don't like to be limited to just one role." Krev nodded slowly. "That's why you're so dangerous. And so valuable as allies." "We prefer the ally part." David grinned. 1 year after the battle, Emperor Tor returned to New Terra, but this time, it was for a celebration. The Joint Academy was graduating its first class. 50 human soldiers and 50 Zalnor soldiers who had trained together for 12 months. The ceremony was held in a large field. Thousands of people attended, humans and Zalnor. Standing side by side, Captain Chen gave a speech. 1 year ago, our peoples were enemies. We fought in space. We fought on land. We could have destroyed each other. She paused, looking at the graduating soldiers. But we chose a different path. We chose to learn from each other, to respect each other, to become partners. She pointed at the soldiers. These graduates are the future. They represent what's possible when we work together instead of fighting. Emperor Tor spoke next. I am an old Zalnor. I grew up believing conquest was glory, war was honor, mercy was weakness. His voice became softer. I was wrong. Captain Chen taught me that real strength is knowing when to fight and when to make peace. Real glory is building, not destroying. Real honor is treating even your enemies with dignity. He looked at the graduates. You soldiers are proof that change is possible, that old enemies can become new friends. The ceremony ended with both national anthems playing. Human and Zalnor flags flew side by side. That evening, Chen and Kravik stood together on a balcony. They watched the sunset over New Terra. Orange and red light painted the sky. Beautiful, Kravik said. Yes, Chen agreed. Captain, can I tell you something? Of course. When I attacked your world, I thought I knew everything about war. I had won 300 battles. I was proud, confident. Kravik looked down. But you taught me I knew nothing about the most important part. What part? Chen asked. What part? Chen asked. What happens after the war ends? How you treat the losers? How you build peace from victory? Kravik looked at her. In Zalnor culture, we never thought about that. We just moved to the next conquest. And now? Chen asked. Now I understand. War is easy. Any fool can make war. But making real, lasting peace? That takes wisdom. That takes strength of a different kind. Chen smiled. You're learning, General. That's good. They were quiet for a moment. Then Kravik asked, what do you think the future holds for humans in Zalnor? Chen looked up at the stars. I think we'll face challenges together. There are dangerous species out there. Threats we can't handle alone. But together, Kravik asked. Together we're much stronger. Your soldiers are brave and disciplined. Our soldiers are creative and adaptable. Combined, we're formidable. Partners, Kravik said. Partners, Chen agreed. Across the galaxy, the story of New Terra became legend. It was told on thousands of worlds, in hundreds of languages. The story of how a small human colony defeated a mighty empire, not through overwhelming force, not through advanced technology, but through preparation, intelligence, and mercy. Young soldiers in training heard the story and learned, strength alone is not enough. You must be strong and wise, powerful and kind, ready for war but hoping for peace. Diplomats heard the story and learned, the best victory is turning enemies into allies. The best conquest is winning hearts, not just battles. Leaders heard the story and learned. True power comes not from how many you can destroy, but from how many you can protect. How many you can help, how many you can inspire. And in the records of the Galactic Federation, a new entry was made. Humanity, classification, peaceful but dangerous. Approach with respect. Do not mistake kindness for weakness. Do not assume vulnerability. Every human civilian is a potential soldier. Every human colony is a potential fortress. They prefer trade and friendship, but they are always ready for war. Recommendation, allied status. Build friendship, not conflict. Below that entry, someone had added a note. Addendum, humans don't have armies that fight for their people. Humans are a people where everyone can become an army. This makes them unique in the galaxy, and uniquely valuable as allies. On New Terra, life returned to normal. Old Thomas went back to his farm. Teacher Maria returned to her classroom. Dr. James continued healing patients. Young Emma went back to studying and playing, but the weapons remained hidden under the peaceful surface. The training continued. The preparation never stopped, because humans had learned a simple truth over thousands of years. Hope for peace. Prepare for war. Be kind until kindness fails. Then be unstoppable. And if the galaxy ever forgot that lesson, if some other empire thought humans were easy prey, if another general came with threats and demands, well, they would learn the same lesson General Kravik learned, the hard way. But hopefully the galaxy had learned. Hopefully the message was clear. Hopefully peace would last. Captain Chen certainly hoped so. But just in case, she kept the gravity anchors fully charged. Just in case. The end. Epilogue. 10 years later, the Human-Zalnor alliance was the strongest partnership in the galaxy. They protected trade routes together. They stopped pirates together. They helped smaller species defend themselves. General Kravik became Ambassador Kravik. He spent his retirement teaching young diplomats about the importance of respect and mercy. Emperor Tor lived to see his empire transform from conquerors to protectors. He died peacefully at age 150, respected across the galaxy. Captain Chen eventually became Admiral Chen. She commanded a joint human-Zalnor fleet. They kept the peace in 50 star systems, and young Emma grew up to become a teacher, just like Maria. She taught alien children and human children together. She taught them about the day New Terra stood against an empire, and won through strength and mercy. The galaxy was better for it, all because one small colony refused to be easy prey, and taught the hunters that sometimes the prey has teeth too.